My name is Bill Harrison. I'm the mayor of Fremont. I want to welcome you to Fremont. And I, of course, want to thank Congressman Mike Honda for bringing us here today to talk about Social Security. And Congressman Honda is going to come up in a moment, and I don't need to read his long bio to you, but he has served at every facet of government, from local level to the state, to the county, to the federal government. And he knows those decisions made 3,000 miles away are going to affect the cities, the counties, and the state back here, and that's what he's there fighting for. So I urge you, as Mayor of Fremont, we're out there, we want you to make sure that you can urge people to join Congressman Honda in his support in his fight to protect Social Security, and make sure that it's not just the safety net, it's not just the lifeline. This is not a left versus right issue, it's a right versus wrong issue. And it's important, it's wrong to pick on seniors, it's wrong to pick on the disabled, and it's wrong to pick on children. So as Mayor of Fremont, it's my great pleasure to introduce a person that not is only representing Silicon Valley and representing people and fighting for the right cause, but he's my congressman. So it's a great pleasure to welcome you to Fremont, Congressman Mike Honda.
I just have to adjust the microphone a bit. They said all men are created equal. I'm not sure about that. I think he's a little bit taller than me. But thank you, Mayor Harrison, and we really want to thank everybody here for joining us in bringing more and more attention to Social Security. This is a position that we've taken. It's not new. We've always said we wanted to be able to modernize, strengthen, and expand Social Security. So this is not a conclusion that we came to overnight. This is something we've been fighting for a long time. And we want to make sure that we do strengthen, modernize, and expand Social Security. And I'm glad that the mayor talked about our young children who, through family tragedy, becomes orphans because they're taken care of by this program, and also the disabled. And so that it's a very expansive deal that President Delano Roosevelt had put together. We call it the New Deal. And this is about a new deal. It's about renewing and refreshing and expanding it. And it's also about making sure that the folks who benefit from this don't get a raw deal by those who want to change it. So your support for this effort carries a great deal of meaning now, Mr. Mayor, for the men and women in Fremont community and also in Newark, who really depend upon Social Security for their livelihood. It was 78 years ago that President Franklin Roosevelt, as part of the New Deal, signed the Social Security Act into law. In doing so, he made a promise from our government and to our people that we wouldn't allow our seniors to be able to age with dignity. This fight is not about myself, it's about Social Security being solvent throughout my lifetime, so I'm going to be okay. This is about your Social Security and the benefits and the benefits for the kids in the future. So when President Roosevelt signed Social Security into law, that was just not a promise to his generation, but also to all generations and obligations that followed. It's incumbent upon us to make sure that that promise is fulfilled by the generation that come after us, and we all have an obligation to do what is best for tomorrow's seniors. We have an obligation to strengthen the system so that it works for Americans of all ages. That's what Social Security really does mean. For me, personally, I think about my mom, who worked as a domestic worker all of her adult life, and she had no pension waiting for her when she retired. So without the safety net of Social Security to sustain her, my mother would have fallen into certain poverty, and this is the cruel threat faced by seniors as I speak today. And so this is a time when we should be working together to make Social Security stronger, to make our future retirees feel more secure and more certain. And now, today, the majority of American households are further behind in retirement due to the economic downturn. We should be working to ensure that our government fulfills its promise to its people. That's why I'm working with my colleague from Los Angeles, Congresswoman Linda Sanchez, and my friend in the Senate from Iowa, Senator Tom Harkin, on a proposal that would expand Social Security benefits. We would do this by expanding core benefits and making sure that the program uses a cost of living calculator that better accounts for the rising health care costs that our grandparents face and our veterans. We cap individuals on their contributions from their paycheck if you make more than $113,700 a year. So I have yet to hear a good explanation as to why that artificial cap exists. Those that earn more are more likely to have other resources of income and should be asked to pay the same proportion of their income into Social Security, and just as those who earn much less. So those who earn much less than $113,000 pay 100% to Social Security. Those who earn over it pay up to $113,700. So there's a cap. So I think the way to change this and strengthen Social Security is scrap the cap. Okay, scrap the cap. When you scrap the cap, you modernize it. So this proposal will extend the program solvency for more decades. It will not decrease anyone's level of benefits, current or future. Now, this is an important point. Many of those that want to cut future benefits will play word games with you, and they'll say that they want to ensure that benefits for current beneficiaries are going to be okay. People like me will be okay. What they don't say is what's going to happen in the future for others. And that's a clever way to say that they're open to cutting future benefits, and we need to make sure that the benefits are protected for current and future, and not allow people to play name games. No one wants to see their family members grow old into poverty. We have the power to make sure that doesn't happen. We have the opportunity to make sure that doesn't happen. And with those right ideas, we can strengthen the historic commitment we as a people once made to our seniors 78 years ago. Now, let me bring up another speaker. I'd like to call upon Mr. Tom Rankin from the State Fund Board of Directors. Now, Tom is the President Emeritus of the California Labor Federation, AFL-CIO, and currently serves as Treasurer for the California Alliance for Retired Americans.
Thank you, Representative Honda. First, I want to make it clear I'm not speaking for the State Compensation Insurance Fund today, but I am speaking for the California Alliance for Retired Americans, which is an organization representing about 900,000 union members and community organization members in the state of California. I'm the treasurer of that organization. We used to look at retirement security as being sort of a three-legged stool. It was Social Security, it was your pension, and it was your savings. Right now, it's become a one-legged stool. Social Security is all most people have. They might have a few savings, but if they were unlucky enough to put their money in a 401k, you know what happened to them in the last recession. They lost a lot of their money. So we really need, as Representative Honda said, to concentrate now on expanding Social Security, because it's what's left of retirement security for most Americans. So what we're doing today is calling upon all the California congressional members and candidates, specifically Ro Khanna, who's running in the 17th Congressional District here, to join Representative Honda in supporting the expansion of Social Security. There are many groups involved in this effort. The one I belong to was part of the Alliance for Retired Americans, which is a national group which is doing it. Democracy for America, the Progressive Change Campaign Committee, Working Families Alliance, Move On, Credo Action, Social Security Works, and many others have endorsed the proposal by Senator Tom Harkin and Alaska Senator Mark Begich to expand the benefits. This is the proposal that Representative Honda is leading the fight on in the House. So this proposal would increase Social Security cost of living adjustments. You probably heard about the chained consumer price index, which the president actually, unfortunately, has proposed to use to determine the cost of living increases in Social Security. That would decrease benefits significantly for Social Security recipients, beneficiaries. And it's not at all accurate, because those of us on Social Security now, who've reached that age, we spend a lot more on medical care than most people. We spend 3 times as much as younger people do. That's not considered by the Chain Consumer Price Index at all. What we need to do is what these bills we're talking about do, is to use an index that was developed specifically to look at the costs of living increases affecting seniors. That's called the CPI-E, CPI Elderly. That's what this bill would use to adjust the cost of living. For almost 400,000 Americans have signed petitions in support of the Harkin-Begich plan to expand Social Security, and that includes tens of thousands of people throughout California. What we want to do today is to release the results of a poll which was recently taken on the question of expanding Social Security. And the poll shows that it's very popular here in our 17th Congressional District. The poll of the district voters, likely voters, was done just a few days ago, August 2nd through 4th, by Public Policy Polling. This pollster, by the way, was the most accurate pollster in the 2012 election cycle. It was done on behalf of the Progressive Change Campaign Committee and Democracy for America. The poll polled 806 people and has a margin of error of about 3.5%. So here are some of the results. By a 57 to 16% margin, the voters the projected voters in the primary here support increasing Social Security benefits.
I'm a senior, and no matter how much I care about other events in the news, I'm fast becoming a single-issue voter. I'm here today to thank Representative Mike Honda for fighting to support Social Security. I also call on his opponent, I'll say, Ro Khanna, and every other congressional candidate to publicly state his or her position on Social Security. Voters like me will be watching for this issue in 2014 and casting our ballots accordingly.
Social Security and my IRA SEP is how I plan to live in retirement, and I hope that that's enough. Many people continue to work because they need to pay the bills.
In the past, we talked about Social Security and they talked about privatizing. And now they're getting smarter and they're using another word called chained CPI, which would really minimize the kinds of promises that we made to our seniors. And so we're here together as a group to reiterate our support for Roosevelt's New Deal, that it continues to be a renewing deal and not a raw deal for other people.